Figure 12.4 through 12.6, Commission Employee Class. Now, the purpose of this first example in this lesson is to introduce the class Commission Employee, which is eventually going to become our base class in a hierarchy consisting of the Commission Employee class and a derived class called Base plus Commission Employee. Now, in this particular example, there is no inheritance being implemented. All we're going to do is create the Commission Employee class and then test it out. So here we have the header file for class Commission Employee, and you can see here, if I scroll down a little bit, that within the class we have some private data. We have strings representing the first name, last name, and social security number, and that's again the composition form of software reuse, where our Commission Employee has a first name, our Commission Employee has a last name, and our Commission Employee has a social security number. We also have double values representing the gross sales and the commission rate for the Commission Employee, and we'll multiply those together to determine a Commission Employee's earnings. Now, as far as the public interface of the class goes, at lines 12 and 13 we have a constructor for the class that's going to receive 3 constant string references representing the first name, last name, and social security number. And then we also have 2 doubles which are defaulted to 0 that represent the gross sales and commission rate. And separately, we've provided set and get member functions for every one of the data members within our class. So set and get for the first name, the last name, the social security number, the gross sales, and the commission rate. And finally, we have 2 other member functions, earnings, which is a const member function that returns the earnings for a Commission Employee based on the gross sales and commission rate, and print, which is just going to display the information for a Commission Employee. And just to reiterate, notice that all of our get member functions have const after the parameter list, indicating that they are const member functions and can be called on a constant object of class Commission Employee if that's ever needed. Now let's go take a look at our source code file for the Commission Employee class. Here at lines 9 through 18 we see the constructor. It's relatively straightforward. All we're doing is assigning the first name, last name, and social security number strings that are received as arguments to the corresponding pieces of data, and then we're calling set gross sales and set commission rate, and the reason we're calling those member functions is because they perform some validity checking on the data to make sure that it is indeed valid. Next, we have a set of set and get member functions. So, for example, here's the pair that represent the set and get first name member function. And these are pretty straightforward. Each one of the sets is just taking its argument and assigning, and each one of the gets is just returning the corresponding piece of data, at least for the first name, last name, and social security number. So I'm going to skip over those since they're straightforward. And you can see here for set gross sales that we're at least checking to make sure that if the sales is less than 0, that we're going to set it to 0, otherwise we'll use the sales figure that was passed in. Get gross sales just returns the value. And for the commission rate, we're going to make sure that it's greater than 0 and less than 1. Otherwise, we're going to set it to 0 in this example. And as I've mentioned several times before, rather than putting in a kind of default piece of data when you get bad data, you might want to consider using exception handling, which we'll cover a couple of lessons from now. So set and get commission rate. And then we have our earnings calculation, which is going to return the commission rate times the gross sales. And we have our print member function, which is going to output a whole bunch of information about the employee, including what type of employee it is, the first name, a space, and the last name, the social security number, the gross sales, and the commission rate. So the last piece in this example is that we want to just test out our Commission Employee class, and we're not going to use every single feature of the class in this example. Sometimes as we move forward in these live lessons and in the corresponding book, C++ for Programmers, we will provide certain types of member functions, because if you're going to design a class, there are certain types of member functions you're always going to want to include. So we're trying to create relatively robust class definitions, but we don't always use every single member function that we provide. So here in the Commission Employee class, you can see that, in the main function that tests the Commission Employee class, you can see that we create a Commission Employee with $10,000 in gross sales and a 6% commission rate. We output the fixed and set precision stream manipulators, saying that we want the floating point numbers to be displayed with 2 digits to the right of the decimal point. And then we demonstrate our get member functions for the commission employee class. So we just go get the first name, the last name, the social security number, the gross sales and commission rate. Then we check out a couple of our set member functions, set gross sales and set commission rate. So we change the gross sales and we change the commission rate. Next, we display the updated employee information by calling employee.print to show you everything inside the employee object. And then finally, we call the earnings member function so that we can show you this employee's earnings. So if we stop there and run this program, we'll be able to see the results, and here you can see the results of all of our get member function calls. Then we of course changed the gross sales and the commission rate, so when we displayed the contents of the commission employee by calling its print function, you can see the new gross sales and the new rate. And then finally, based on that gross sales and commission rate, we had an earnings for this employee of $800. Now, again, the main issue in this example was to lay the foundation for the next several examples by introducing the commission employee class. And I do want to point out, by the way, that there are some things that we did on purpose in this example so that we can actually show you better software engineering later on in our series of examples in this lesson. So for example, lines 13 through 15, we really should have initialized these string members in the member initializer list of the constructor, and we will do that later, but we want to walk you through a series of examples and show you some of the problems that you can encounter when you're building up classes using a class hierarchy. Then we'll go, and in the last version of the commission employee base plus commission employee hierarchy, we'll show you a version that has the best possible software engineering based on these two classes. So in the next example, we're going to take a look at a base plus commission employee class that is built completely from scratch and has no specific relationship with this commission employee class that we were just looking at.